training partners. Here come your training partners. So smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners.
Team! Welcome to Training Partners. We're two fitness professionals. Oh my God. We gotta start over.
I thought you were going to get there. I thought it was going to work.
Welcome to Training Partners. We're two fitness professionals bringing you strong takes held loosely. I'm Weezy Shoemaker, and I'm joined as always by Justin McClintock. And I didn't take a single breath because it's my birthday.
In that great birthday tradition.
Have
Have you had your birthday asphyxiation?
Oink.
Again, I'm
That's
not yucking
right.
anyone's yum.
That's right. You heard it here. It's my birthday. We're not breathing, and today's all about me.
It is. It is. That's the whole plan. Time of recording. It's your birthday. Thanks for recording today.
Of course. Of course. You know, I know you know this, but perhaps listeners don't know this, is that often we record on Wednesday afternoon, sometimes on Friday afternoon. Like it's usually one of the two.
Correct.
And this Friday afternoon, I have a doctor's appointment. And this Wednesday afternoon, Ted and I have both taken the entire day off. And as of time of recording, we don't have any kind of plan.
Whoa.
So like we have some rough ideas. Like I know at some point we will go to Outback Steakhouse. I know this. I do not know. Like we might play pickleball. We are probably going to lift together because we so seldom get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But we have no like timetable, nothing with reservations. I thought about making a massage appointment, but then was like, I don't want like, what if we've talked about maybe going jeans shopping. Like, what if we're just having an absolute ball and would like to continue like bopping around, but then we have an appointment across town to get to. No thanks.
Yeah.
So did not want to record tomorrow. So it had to be today. Day of birth, day of emergence.
Yeah.
I did.
Which just turned into quite a busy day for you.
It's quite a busy day for me. I had back-to-back clients this morning. And had a very early wake up because my oldest burst into our bedroom at 2:11 a.m. Like you could, like the door creaked and then thrust open and you see this just noodle of a 6-year-old in the doorway. Are we ever going to get up?
Which tells me he's been sitting in his bed for quote unquote forever. So somewhere between 15 minutes and an hour, wondering why people aren't awake. And I was like,
why aren't
you,
we
you
up?
sent me that this morning and I was like, oh, that's giving very like Christmas morning vibes. Is he that excited about Weezy's birthday? Or maybe I was like, maybe there's going to be like a birthday breakfast thing that he's excited about, or just awake.
Just awake. And you know, it took me a while to get back to sleep.
I would imagine.
And got out the door. Ted took both of the boys in today, which was lovely, so that I could go and get a drive-through coffee, which I very, very seldom do these days. 3 back-to-back clients, and then our yearly tax meeting, and now I'm here with you. So it's been, and I, after this, have to go and re-up the car registration for both of our vehicles, because of course they're both in my name, and of course they expire on your birthday, which is today. So
well, almost
could I have
literally
mailed
leaving it to the last minute.
Right. Could I have mailed it in 6 weeks ago? Absolutely. Absolutely, I could have done that. Did I? I did not. I remember receiving it in the mail and being like, there's so much inefficiency at the BMV and DMV that even if I sent it today, I don't think I'd get it back in time. And was like, I'll deal with that some other time. And now,
some other time.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Day of birth, about to be driving a car with expired tags. So
yeah, trying to. What time does the DMV close?
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. There is so here's the deal. I am a little less concerned about it because you don't know this. Volvo is paying for a rental for us.
Oh, good.
That Ted is picking up today because my car stalled earlier this week. Like I was like at the top of my hill leaving my neighborhood and my vehicle just turned off. I was like, okay, this is
The
now
ongoing
like
Volvo saga.
right. Like they haven't repaired it yet. Because the part that they need is a special order or like blah blah. They don't just keep extra fuel cells on hand. Sure, I get that. And up until then, it was drivable, just only on gas. Okay, well, what if that happens like in the middle of my commute on the highway? We can't be having that. That's not going to work.
No.
So, even if I am not able to acquire tags today, I will not be driving a vehicle.
Well, so priorities have become clear.
So, but I am going to do my due diligence to get it taken care of today.
Fine.
I suspect it will be fine. We have no liens and no like warrants out for arrest, so I expect it's going to be just fine to
bring all the
walk
extra
in, get tags,
identification and all the car stuff.
Sure.
And all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And,
I actually I don't know how safe this is. No, I'm not going to share that. Never mind.
Ooh.
Cut that out.
Juicy.
No,
we didn't say anything. Cut out what?
I'll tell you. I don't want this on the pod.
Okay. Sure. That's not that crazy. I did have, you might like this story, so I'll bleep that, but I'll tell this barely related story, but a thing I think you might appreciate. So, many years ago, I believe I was living in North Carolina. Is that true? I think I was living in North Carolina, but I got called to New York to do a prep thing for a show. I think that's right. Maybe we had just moved to Philly, but I was in New York helping a big Broadway show prep, like which is all warehouse stuff, like all this work in a warehouse, getting cable and lighting and marking things and building things and putting all the stuff together so it can go into the theater much more efficiently.
Sure.
Rebecca was attending a conference in Las Vegas, big doctor conference she had to go to. Rebecca doesn't really like Las Vegas. I don't really like Las Vegas, but it was a conference. I think she was presenting. She had to like go give a talk and all that stuff.
Right.
Good, great, grand. While I'm at work, the phone rings and it's Rebecca. And she's supposed to be traveling and she knows I'm at work. It's a very busy time, like prepping show. You can't just like take a phone call. It's not that kind of environment. Like, uh-oh. I pick it up and short story, she's like, I left my wallet somewhere in the airport. I can't find it. I have my boarding pass and everything, so they're going to let me on the plane. I'm getting on the plane, but I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to Las Vegas. I don't have any money. I don't have a credit card. I have my passport, so I can prove it's me, but I've got nothing. So, cool. I'm going to work on this and let you know what's happening. She said, thank you very much. No problem. And I looked up at, frankly, the cream of the crop of Broadway lighting. And I said, hey, Rebecca's flying into Vegas. She's going to be there in about 3 hours. We need to figure out ways to get people to pick her up, take her to her hotel and give her some spending money. And 3 different people said, I'll make a phone call. I called my friend, who at the time was working on Penn and Teller. I said, hey, told her the same story. And she said, oh, great. Actually, I'm free until 8 p.m. tonight. I'm just going to go pick her up. I'll give her some money and I'll take her to a hotel. And like, we'll figure it out later. This is a friend of mine from college. We've known each other forever. I said, that would be great. I think Rebecca hadn't even quite gotten on the plane yet. So I called her and was like, good news. Her name's Erica. She's looking for you. Here's her phone number. She's going to take care of everything. I hung up the phone and 3 guys walk up to me. One of them says, hey, the Lion King is going to send their people. The other one says, hey, Blue Man Group's going to pick her up, but they're sending like the big van, so it's going to be a little weird. And I think it was Celine Dion at the time, like Celine Dion's people are going to come get her. I said, put all of those people on standby. I think I have a plan A, but now we have a B, C, and D. Plan A worked out. And it was great fun, and Erica's a delight, and Rebecca and her are friends now. someone actually found her wallet and turned it into lost and found at the airport.
Wow.
Like maybe minus the cash, but she had her credit cards and everything.
Right.
It all like totally worked out in a way that these things don't usually work out. But it was kind of a cool moment. I felt awfully cool to get the phone call like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to Vegas. Like, hold on. This is weirdly so in my wheelhouse. I think I have like 4 or 5 levers I can pull. We're going to make this thing happen.
Wow. That's a great story. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
You got it.
So that was a wonderful side quest. Thank you, Justin.
You're quite welcome. Would you like to talk about what we're talking about today?
I mean, what do you want to know?
Well, so this is sprung it on me is unfair, but you did this a while ago to me, which is basically I've titled this Weezy, origin story.
My colon has an origin story?
Well, yes, but I don't want to go
the mouth.
Quite that far.
Well, do you know, Justin, that everyone in utero starts as an asshole? We are formed in utero asshole first, and some people never evolve from that stage.
I have indeed heard this.
Wonderful. I'm so glad. Continue.
I don't want to go back quite that far, though. But I thought we would do a little walk through Weezy's life to whatever degree you're open to it.
Great.
So, way back at the beginning, where do you come from? Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Oh, my God. Oh, Justin, you had to do that. I was born in New Bremen, Ohio, which is a very, very small town in Ohio, and was, I don't know if you want to say the proud, but the member of a religious cult there.
Do you want to talk about that?
I appreciate you asking. We can talk about it to the point that it's relevant, which is that I am an only child. And we moved relatively quickly. Like we lived there on grounds of the religious cult until I was 8. And what that means is that we shared a double wide trailer with another family and had, from what I remember at the time, most, if not all of our community was tied up in the church. We ate a lot of meals together in the big meal hall. The church hall, very, very elaborate, held like 10,000 people, something like that. Meticulously maintained grounds. I remember that when people came to visit us, like if family who was not right there came to visit, they would have to clear it with security beforehand. And this was very, very, very normal to me. And to learn when we moved into the inner city of Toledo, which is not like city, but compared to a 5,000 person cult in like the middle of fields, it's very different. I did not know that was weird until that point. And so you have, it was my normal. And you also have to imagine like, okay, somebody who is an only child, who is undiagnosed autistic, who is like figuring out where they fit in this totally new environment, and already very intelligent. I spent basically all of my time either reading or watching people and like observing social hierarchy.
That totally makes sense. Flash forwarding, because this isn't a cult episode, this is a Weezy episode.
Right, sure.
Like, going through high school, did you have an inkling of like what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm fairly certain it wasn't this.
No, it wasn't this.
Yeah.
It wasn't this. I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be. Like, I was always intelligent, particularly at reading. I'm a very, very fast reader. I can take things in very, very quickly. And I was the person who was kind of like always taking like a personality or job assessment test to be like, what does it think I should do?
Okay. Yeah.
And so I remember at one point, one of the ones that I took, like, it was literally all over the place. Like, it was like, you could be like a radiologist, or you could be like a realtor, or you could you could run a nonprofit. I was like, these don't seem the
You're a
least bit
reasonably functional person
right.
who's kind of okay.
Right. And like, I was very, very into at the time the arts. We've talked about this before on the pod that I spent a lot of time in the art room itself. My junior and senior year, I was there for more than half the school day, mostly doing metalworking, which I deeply enjoyed. But there's not a lot of money in that.
No. Sculpture.
Right. And there's like a pretty hefty buy-in to get started. So instead, I did what everyone does instead, which was take on a great amount of student loans to pursue a degree in mm, from somewhere.
Where'd you go to college?
So I started at the University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida. Fueled by three things. One, my hatred of winter. I hate winter. Sure. I hate the cold. We've talked about this at length. I despise it. I'm grumpy under about like 58 degrees. Yeah, I know. Also fueled by wanting to get pretty far away from family while still being in the same time zone. So, Toledo, Ohio to Tampa, Florida, pretty decent distance.
Yeah.
And I was also dating a young man at the time who lived in Gainesville, and I really would like to be closer to him. And he was going to stay relatively close to home to go to school. It's like, okay, and I got some scholarship money to go there. Okay. So I left, and I was there for about 2 years. And he and I broke up. Gosh, it would have been like the tail end of my freshman year. Okay. So we were together. We'd met at a church camp one summer in high school, and were long distance for the rest of high school and then that first year of college.
Oh, wow.
If you would have asked me then, I would have said, I'm going to marry him. I'm going to be just like his mother. Like, this is going to be the whole thing. But we broke up, and it was a pretty messy breakup. I mean, like, imagine being 19 and having almost your whole identity wrapped up in this person. It was not a healthy relationship. And on the opposite side of our breakup, one of the things that he had told me while we were dating is that I'd never be actually athletic. So he played soccer at the collegiate level as well. Okay. And I really wanted to be like fitter and more of a unit. Like, I wanted to feel and look strong, and I had no idea how to accomplish that. And so in the fallout of our relationship ending, I did what I thought was the most athletic thing that you could do, which was sign up for a marathon about a year out. And was like,
not bad. Well,
yeah, I have no idea how to do this, but I have all this time and not a ton of money and all of these feelings. I'm going to start running.
Welcome to long distance running. You are qualified. That is
welcome. Right.
That's pretty much the checklist.
That's pretty much the thing. And I think I did a pretty decent job training for it, because I signed up for a bunch of like increasing in duration checkpoint races along the way.
Smart.
Yeah. So I did, a handful of 5Ks and then a couple of 10Ks and 2 half marathons before the full, which was the Disney Marathon.
Nice.
And then after I ran the race, I basically decided right away, like, I don't think I need to be here anymore. Like, I think kind of my time here's done. I'd been away from home for a couple years at that point and had developed some slightly healthier boundaries with family. And decided, like, I think I could probably transfer back somewhere in state where tuition is going to be a lot cheaper. And so I applied and I got into Ohio State and I moved that summer.
So this is sophomore year going into your junior year.
That's correct. Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are we 2010-ish? Where are we?
This would have been, summer 2010.
Okay. Yeah, that checks out.
Is that true? I think so. It's either 2010 or 2011.
It feels like it has to be in that neighborhood.
Yeah. And so in this period of time when I was also running, I took a weightlifting class at USF.
Cool.
And I learned about progressive overload, and I remember thinking, no, that can't work. That isn't it. And so I was strength training to complement my running, but I was basically just like doing whatever the fuck I wanted. Like I'd walk in and be like, I'm going to do 3 sets of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what I did last time. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but I'm going to do something.
Extremely traditional late teenage, early 20s workout.
Right. Sit down on a machine.
Some stuff.
I'm going to do some stuff.
And it's going to like kind of work pretty okay.
Right. Yeah. At the time too, I'm still really battling like some disordered eating habits and like common for young women of the time, of the generation. Like I wanted to be both strong and capable, but also as small as I possibly could be.
I think the strong is a little bit of an outlier even for 2010. Like maybe emotionally, mentally strong and independent. That was certainly in the zeitgeist. But
sure.
I feel like that was sort of the early leading edge of it being kind of cool, acceptable, even aspirational to be a noticeably physically strong woman.
Right. Yeah. So in high school, I was a cheerleader and I was a base.
Yep.
And I was not the strongest one on the team. And I remember noticing that, like, there were a couple on our team who also strength trained, and they were able to do the best stunts. But I had no idea, like, how do I pursue that? Like, I literally don't know, and I'm too embarrassed to ask. So transferred and living a healthier and more balanced active lifestyle at that point, but still like primarily running was what I enjoyed doing. And that's honestly like kind of how Ted and my relationship got started. Well, he did barge into my front door. He just like walked straight into my house and insulted. Not assaulted. Holy shit. He did not assault me upon first meeting, and now we're married. Holy shit.
I was worried we wouldn't get any social media clips.
No. So
were you living at home? Were you living on? Do you have roommates? What were we talking about?
I did. So we were really involved in a youth group called Young Life at the time, because still very much drinking the like kind of religious adjacent Kool-Aid.
God,
I didn't even really know at this point in time that I'd grown up in a cult. This happened like years later than that. And still really plugged into like a relatively conservative Christian group. And so I lived in a Young Life house on campus at Ohio State. My parents live 2.5 or so hours from there at that point. And I had just moved in, and my house was split between 2 of the religious organizations. It had some Young Life girls, and then it had some Campus Crusade girls.
Okay.
And
I don't know what that is, so it sounds funny.
They're both like convert as many young people as possible to live the mission, whatever. And I had just moved in. I didn't know practically anybody. I was trying to make friends. And the Campus Crusade group was going to walk up to the movie theater a couple blocks up the street because it was going to be showing The Lion King. And everybody was like, there's going to be The Lion King for free and food. We should go.
Magic. Yeah.
But I was like, hey, let me hang back. I'm pretty particular about like making sure that I'm getting enough protein. So I'm just going to make something here and then I'll meet you there. And as I'm bustling around my house, like preparing to get some food together and like also hyping myself up for you're about to meet a bunch of people. Like this is an opportunity to make friends. You're going to be cool and normal. It's going to be fine. Ted bursts into the front door of an all-girls house. And he like stops. Like it's kind of like the Spider-Man meme, like, oh. And basically bumbled over like, oh, I know your housemates. I don't know you. I'm like, yeah, you don't know me. That's correct. It's like, so you're new here. I'm like, I am. That's true. What he didn't know.
There are no drugs or money here, sir. I need you to leave immediately.
What is the situation here? What he didn't know is that I had actually heard about him quite a bit already because we are both from Toledo, and everybody who I talked to who was both in Young Life and at Ohio State, like, hey, I'm transferring in. I'm really excited. I'm looking for a place to live. Like, if you have any leads, yada, yada, let me know. Everybody would say, oh, you know Ted Shoemaker. No, I do not know Ted Shoemaker. And so I'd heard his name 5 or 6 different times at that point. And he walks in, he goes, oh, you're new here. I'm so sorry. I'm Ted. Oh, you're Ted. I'm Weezy. Nice to meet you. Yeah. He goes, Weezy, where are you from? Said, oh, I'm from Toledo. Oh, where did you go to high school? Oh, I went to Southview. Oh my God, I hate your school. Wow. And then
a high school snob.
Right. It's because we beat him. We beat him at every sport that exists.
Oh, okay,
like,
sure.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that we're superior athletically. And he said, well, there's some food at my house. You could come over if you want. There's a bunch of food. I'm running house to house and invite people over to eat food. They had like trash bags full of pulled pork that they'd convinced somebody at a country living fair to give to them because the fair was over and they had all this leftover food. And they were like, yeah, you could drive that home and it'll spoil, or you could give it to us.
Classic 18-year-old move.
Classic. Didn't tell me where his house was. Didn't tell me how to reach him. I was so like, what just happened? Like, this person barged into my house, invited me over to eat, didn't give me any instructions, and insulted me.
And then walked out?
Right. And then left.
Okay.
And so then, as he tells it, he went back to his house and was like, I think I was just rude to somebody. And replayed the scenario for his housemates, who confirmed that, in fact, was rude. You should apologize. And so
that wasn't nice. Verging on scary.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like, it wasn't terrifying. It wasn't the greatest way to make a first impression.
Sure.
But as luck would have it, I was very cheap at the time. And said, well, I could eat my protein, or I could figure out where this place is and I could eat theirs. So I went over and he apologized, and we, over the next couple of weeks, were hanging out and getting lunch and going to the gym together, and like in the Young Life realm, call it courting. There was another gentleman in the picture as well who I was also casually hanging out with. But because of the experiences I'd already had to that point, it was very, very important for me to partner with somebody who knew how to use their big boy words. And so I decided the first one to be really intentional. Like, I know that they're both into me. I know that.
Right.
The first one to be intentional and to say, like, hey, I'd like to take you on a date, or I'd like to actually get to know you better. Like, I want this to go in a direction. Was going to be the only one that I paid any attention to. And that was Ted. It's like, hey, I would like to take you on a real date. You can wear whatever you'll feel comfortable in. I'm going to wear the only button down shirt that I have. And like, I don't want to call it like, go get a coffee. I want to take you on a date. Is that okay with you? And that was it. I was kind of all in from that point.
Very clear.
Like,
very direct.
very clear, very clear. Which was really, really important to me because this, I struggle with ambiguity. Like, I will overthink it to the nines. I needed somebody who had the ability to be really clear.
Yeah.
And I guess that doesn't really answer anything about like how I got to where I am now, but that is how I met Ted Shoemaker.
Well, that's an important step. And we know how
You're
that
right.
story turned out. So while you're in college, you met Ted. Very exciting. Not knowing where it's going to go, but obviously had some belief in it that you were willing to commit to it fairly early on. You're in your junior year of college. You theoretically are making some decisions, at least like, what are we majoring? What do we think we're aiming toward upon graduation?
Right. So I was a communications major and I was really interested in like going down a broadcast journalism path.
Oh, okay.
And I was equal parts scared that I wouldn't be able to do it well and intimidated by how bad the hours would be.
Sure. Yep.
And so I was like, well, I kind of want to be that adjacent. Like, I took a number of broadcast and like writing for broadcast jobs and courses, and really just decided in senior year when everybody's kind of like applying for stuff, like, I don't really care. I just kind of want to make some money. Like, I hadn't pursued broadcast seriously enough, quite frankly, because I just wasn't like interested enough to do the things that you would need to do well in that career.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have 3 or 4 internships at the studio, right? Like, so no, nobody's going to hire me. And so really had like still kind of no idea what do I actually want to do. And ended up getting a job that I hated at. Have you heard of Angie's List? Do you know what this means?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I got a job at their corporate headquarters in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And I was there for about 6 months in a call center environment. And I hated it so much that I was almost immediately looking for something else. And that something else landed me in a boutique marketing firm that did mostly marketing for higher education. It was like 15 people in the office, all in-house creative. Like, my direct boss was the COO.
And what were you doing?
My title was the client communications coordinator, but really it's just front desk girl, right?
Okay, got it.
I answer the phone, I place all the food orders, I make sure that all of our brand standards are correct on anything that goes out. I send and receive all the mail. I make sure the office is always stocked with things. So, like, not enough to be called a project manager, but like maybe enough to be called an office manager.
Okay,
like,
fair.
I don't have one thing that I do. I'm the person that people come to when they need something.
Yeah.
Right.
The everything.
Right. And I think of that job as being so pivotal in my development because there was this gentleman there named Sam Watterson. There's no way he'll hear this. He's incredible. I think the world of him. He's hysterical in his own way. And he is maybe one of the most particular people I've ever met. He's meticulous. And he instilled the belief in me that, like, no detail is too small. Like, hey, our brand standard is to have a 1.1 margin between all lines. And so that needs to be consistent on anything that we send and print out. Right? Like, this is not too small. And the idea that we've talked about on the podcast some of coherence in branding. Richard Harrison Bailey was the owner of that practice. Is practice the right word? Agency? Firm. And he wrote a book called Coherence about, like, hey, everything that your brand says or does has to point back to what you say is important about you. Right.
Yep.
Like if it doesn't, that's incoherent and that's not acceptable. And so they would apply that to like marketing for higher education. Right. Like in particular, there was one very expensive women's only college that paid them quite a bit of money on marketing and brand strategy. And they would do things like make sure that their mailers were sent on obviously recycled materials because like sustainability was one of their tenets. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they did things like help the campus come up with a branded scent that they would pump through the air ducts. And that sort of like, hey, this all needs to point in the right direction, or we're just leaving ambiguity and potentially money on the table. People won't know that we're for them.
Yeah. If it doesn't feel right, then it's a little bit wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in time, Ted and I were already married. We got married right out of school and we moved to Indianapolis, and we were there for about a year. And it's kind of crazy that this place was such a pivotal part of what I believe my journey is because I was really only there for 6 months. Right.
Oh,
And
wow.
like I've been at Sustain for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. Because Ted got promoted and transferred down to Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved. And still I really didn't have any kind of idea like what do I want my life to be about? I truly like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
happy to be married and have a dog and a cat, and like I enjoy my life. This is kind of enough. And got a job at Nissan North America. And we started making enough money that we signed up for CrossFit. This is where things get a little interesting. Because, this is like late 2013, early
Mm-hmm.
2014, like kind of the height of CrossFit being really, really
Yeah.
cool and fun and
For sure.
the buzzy thing. And it was the first time that I was really, really interested and intrigued by building muscle.
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh yeah, muscle will allow me to put this heavy ass barbell over my head, or to hoist myself up over this bar. Like, yeah, I would like to do that, and I need to be strong to be able to do that.
And
Right?
you're in an environment and a community where that is deeply celebrated.
Right.
Like when you do something well, a little faster, a little heavier, a little more athletic, the room loses its mind in support of you.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's encouraged. And
we're not going to make the cult comparison. It's too obvious. We're just going to sail right through that.
That's right. That's right. Just going cult to cult, Justin. And started CrossFitting, and realized about a year into CrossFit that like, I think I could be really good at coaching this, and I would really like to try that alongside also having a corporate job. Like,
Right.
Hey, my job is fine. It pays me enough. I don't know that I'd necessarily like choose it in a lineup, but I'm here and it's fine. And this would be fun to do on the side. And I think I'd be really good at it. So I went and got my CrossFit Level 1 at a weekend certification at CrossFit Mayhem in Cookeville, Tennessee. And started coaching part-time. And then in the midst of that, I got promoted into a role that I knew on day 2 was not going to be a good fit, but you can't there's no take backs, right? Like you can't be like, just kidding.
Yeah.
And so I came home one day after driving up for about 6 weeks straight, hoping that the building was on fire. And I said, hey, Ted, what do you think about me taking like a 90% pay cut to work in fitness full time? And once he stopped laughing because he was like, oh, she's fucking serious. Like, she's not, this isn't a joke. It's like, okay, well, let's take a look, and figure out like what's kind of our bare minimum. We didn't have kids. Like there wasn't a lot outside of student loans that we were accountable for.
Right.
So like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, like our lifestyle will have to change, but
Right.
I'm cool with that if you are. Let's
Not necessarily easy, but not devastating, not dangerous,
right,
not obviously
right,
irresponsible. Like,
right.
and that's one of those moments where, like, oh, we can make a change, and I desperately want to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the first time that I was like excited about what I might be doing.
Yeah. Like for a job.
Right. Like everything
Yeah.
else was kind of like, yeah, I'm here and I'm like good enough. Like it's fine. This was the first thing that I was like, no, I want to do this and get better at this. And I acknowledge that there's so much that I don't know and so much that I want to learn. And like, I feel so inspired to do this.
That's cool. Did you have an offer for more coaching hours and all of that? Like, in what order did that kind of play itself out?
Well, so we put a date on the calendar as like, if I haven't found something else by this point, we will have saved enough money that I can just peace out.
Okay.
Like,
So you're
give note.
searching for another whatever job, fill in the blank job
Sure.
potentially. Got it.
Sure. I'm still at the time like, yeah, I mean, I'll get another part-time job and then I'll also coach, but I'll have way more time to coach.
Right.
Right. Put a date on the calendar. Okay, I'm going to quit on this day if I haven't found something. We will have saved up enough money. It's going to be fine. We're going to do it. And 6 weeks prior to that date on the calendar, my VP put a 4:30 Friday meeting on my calendar, which we know what
Ooh.
that means. We know what that
Uh-huh.
means.
I've never even had a VP and I know what that means.
Right. I think I'm going to get fired today. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm not having a good time. I can't imagine they're having a good time with me.
Yeah.
And I did get fired and they paid me 6 weeks of severance and they paid me to the day of when I'd put on my calendar, like, I'm getting the fuck out of this place.
Well, there it is.
Which was wonderful because then I got paid exactly what I wanted to be paid and I got 6 weeks off. And
Yep.
so in that 6 weeks, Ted was like, "Hey, take some time to like figure out like your next move. Like don't just jump into the next thing. Like we have some space to breathe here, so
Yeah.
take a deep breath." Right?
Take a minute.
Right. And so important in the mix over here is that while all this is going on, I also got a PCOS diagnosis. And the doctor told me, like, in the middle of an ultrasound, like, yeah, you're not going to be able to have kids without intervention. There's just no way. Like, based on what I'm seeing, that's not possible for you.
Just a by the way. Just drop that in.
Just by the way, right? And 2 very unexpected pregnancies that ended in miscarriage. And so that's kind of like also informing what is happening at the time. Cause it's like, well, like maybe we're going to have kids, maybe we're not. This feels difficult and heavy and like also questioning, like, do I even want that for my life? Questioning at this point some of the like religious non-negotiables that we learned as a part of a conservative Christian youth group.
Yeah.
And like trying to untangle that from my identity and also from the identity that I'd assigned to Ted. And so like a lot of difficult things that certainly was not prepared to navigate at like age 25. Like didn't have all the right tools at the time.
Right.
But in this period of time, I started coaching a ton more. I picked up basically as many classes as I could in this like liminal space. And I signed up for some continuing education to learn how to coach women in the pregnant and postpartum space.
Right.
because I decided like, okay, the way that I'm going to deal with the grief of being told you can't have children and then getting pregnant and then losing the pregnancy and then having that happen again is I'm going to become the person that people can come to so that when somebody walks into our gym and says, hey, I'm pregnant, what do I need to know? They are met with support where they are rather than just like, just listen to your body. Like, that's bullshit advice.
Just be really
Right.
careful.
Right. Just be really careful. I'm like, I don't know. What does your doctor say? My doctor doesn't say anything because it's not in their scope of practice. What the fuck do you mean?
I don't know.
Right. So got some continuing education and was really, really happy to coach a whole bunch and also be the person that pregnant and postpartum women would come to when they needed support in that gym.
I bet that felt great.
It did feel great. It felt great. There's one person in particular, she might listen to this, who I'm still in decently close contact with, who joined the gym because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Especially that early on, really, in
Right.
like your coaching career, to have
Right.
people
I
making
mean,
that choice because you're the resource.
right. At
Yeah.
that point, I hadn't even been coaching like 18 months. Still a very, very, very green coach. And as this is going on as well, I'm getting the bulk of my income from Throwdowns, which is a competition registration and scoring platform that I helped somebody much smarter than me, who happened to be like the smartest dude at the CrossFit gym, run. He was super, super intelligent. He built it to support an in-house competition. A bunch of other gym owners were in attendance and they were like, hey, can we use that?
Yeah.
And then he was like, there's maybe something here. But as is common with people who are really, really intelligent, is that they're not always the greatest at speaking to people.
Yeah.
And empathizing with their problems, or supporting them through them.
Yeah.
And so he needed a me.
Yeah.
And I needed something that had a little bit more predictable of income than, the $15 an hour that coaching a couple of classes a week makes. And so I was also doing that. And so if you would have asked me at the time, like, what do you do? I would have told you, I'm the customer success manager or I'm co-owner, depending on the stage and time of throwdowns.com. Like, I help competitions all over the world be successful. That's it.
And you do a lot of support for that.
Right. A lot at the time, because it was a product that was really easy to break and needed a lot of hand holding. So it needed a lot of me. Happy to do that until we got unexpectedly pregnant with who we now know as Walter. Right. So made the decision prior to having him, like Ted and I both independently and together in therapy and doing a lot of soul searching and deciding, like, really for me was, can I take him at his word that I am actually enough? Because there were some things that some people had said to me along the way, whether they were friends of his or family of his, to say, like, he would not choose just you. He wants to have children. Like, you're not enough. Where he's telling me, like, no, I married you. Like, I know that this might not be possible for us, and I'm still in, but I need you to be in too. And so we decided, this would have been like summer of 2018. Like, okay, let's do this. I know we've already been married for 5 years at this point, and we've lived a lot of life in that 5 years. We are going to choose to be intentionally childless. Like, we're going to embrace that that's the cards that have been dealt for us. We sold our very family friendly home in a wonderful neighborhood in a wonderful school district. And we bought a 1,200 square foot bungalow in a slightly less optimal part of town. And I got the 2-door Jeep Wrangler of my dreams, and about 3 months later, I was pregnant with Walter. He changed my life. I mean,
Walter did.
obviously, Walter. Because then at that point, it's like not just about like Well, yeah, I don't care. I can get up at 3:30 to go coach the 5 a.m. class. It's no big deal. There was then a whole nother person that, yeah, I can potentially make enough money to support my family doing everything that I'm doing. However, because I'm co-owner of this global business, I'm having to get up at all hours of the night to check on a comp in Dubai that's having a hard time. And I'm having to drag myself out of bed at 3 so that I can pump before I go coach at 5. And like, just really, really starting to question, like, is this the best that it can be? Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing work that I enjoy, that I find meaningful enough, that I'm good at, and my child is cared for enough. And I don't see how it's possible that any of us thrive in this. Like, something has to change.
Yeah, it doesn't feel sustainable, certainly.
No, it doesn't feel sustainable. Certainly not. And then the question comes into play of like, okay, well, we'd really like for him to have a sibling if that's possible. I have no idea financially or time-wise, like, how the fuck is that gonna happen? Like,
Right.
I cannot wrap my head around this. And so while I still lived in Tennessee, I started working at Row House, which paid quite a bit more by the class.
And that's the rowing studio.
That's the rowing studio,
Exercise
right?
studio. Yep.
Imagine a cycling class, but instead of cycling, it's rowers. It's a
Yep.
bunch of ergs in a room. And I was really good at it. I really enjoyed it. It put me on a stage. It gave me the opportunity to like curate a performance while also helping people get fitter. And my classes were full, which was great because if they're full, you make more money. And then March of 2020 happened. And the pandemic was really, really tough on many in fitness, myself included. And two really, really notable things happened. One of them is that the like class cap changed, which is like perfectly acceptable. When we were allowed to reopen, a full room of people was something like 28 or 29 ergs. And it got brought down to 13.
Yeah.
However, they did not adjust the pay structure, and you did not start to make any bonus until 15.
Which now doesn't exist.
Which now doesn't exist. And so what they did to create more opportunity for people to get their workouts in is that rather than having 45 or 60-minute classes, they cut everything down to 30s.
Yeah.
However, I literally, like, I remember like going from the pre-COVID month to the post-COVID month and watching how aggressively the money that I was making changed. And then I remember sitting down and making a spreadsheet of like, okay, these are the number of hours that I'm coaching. These are the number of bodies I'm like serving in a shift. This is what I made before. This is what I made after. And I brought that to the owner and was like, hey, I'm working the same amount. My body is breaking down.
Yep.
And I'm also serving the same number of people. And I'm making half.
Yeah. Because
And
they adjusted the structure, but then also adjusted the class time, but then didn't adjust the pay structure.
Right.
And for people who haven't heard us talk about this or don't know, you row along. It is very spin class type. You are rowing, they are rowing with you.
Yeah.
You're leading the cadence and all of strokes per minute and all of that stuff. But you're literally doing it for however many hours a day.
Right. I remember very specifically, there was about 6 straight weeks where I was rowing like 60,000 meters a week or so with class. Because you're rowing on average, like depending on what the class format is, anywhere between 3,300 and 6,500 in a class. And so then imagine like, okay, well, what if I've got 4 classes in a row, right?
Yeah.
And then at this point, I'm also still nursing, and I'm trying to figure out like, how to produce food for my child and how to keep myself adequately fed. And because I'm only working in that plane of motion, like I had no gas left to do basically anything else. My body literally, like I was the leanest and the most cut looking that I could possibly have ever been. And my body hurt all the time. I was like wrecked.
Radically under recovered.
Radically under recovered. And so I remember like going to the owner with this presentation and being like, hey, we don't know how long this is going to last. Like it could be a couple of weeks. It could be years. This is what I was making before. This is what I'm making now. Is there anything that you can do about this? And he offered me a $2 an hour raise.
All right. So that's a no.
And so at that point, we knew we'd only been in our house for not even quite a year. Walt was just about to celebrate his first birthday. I am back in this situation of like fitness has kind of bit me in the ass again. But still feel deeply inspired to do it. When a mutual friend who also coached rowing here in Columbus, Ohio, reached out to say, hey, my owner is opening another franchise. There are no candidates here to be a lead coach. If you have ever considered being a head coach, I think you'd be a natural fit, but you do have to be in Ohio. And so if you're like pondering a move, this might not be a bad time.
Yeah.
And we decided to kind of wash our hands of Tennessee. Like, oh, all right, well, we know that we're going to have to move out of this house at some point because it is not big enough for our growing family. Like we fully recognize that. And the housing market in Nashville never really slowed down because down there, COVID's not real. And so we knew that we could make a little bit of money on our house. Not a lot. We've been there for a year, but like enough that it's not a wash. And we knew that the interest rate was like 3%.
Yeah,
and we said, okay, well, we know what Weez can make. We know that she has a job upon getting here. We know that they are both respecting and accommodating for COVID, both from a class size perspective and from a pay perspective. Let's do it. So we ended up here. And I was
Ted keep his job? Was he just remote? So he could go wherever? Yeah, okay.
That's correct. He's been remote since 2010.
Yeah.
He's been remote since before it was cool. No, 2010 is too early. 2014. So we moved, and I, in this transition period, started taking on some nutrition clients, and so I had some supplemental income from that. And if you would have asked me in the first like 6 to 8 weeks here in Columbus, like, are you doing what you're meant to be doing and what you'll be doing long term, I would have told you yes. And then the owner of my franchise sold.
Oh.
And the people who came in cut pay almost in half, including like our admin time. And so I was lead coach and I was responsible for like making and upkeeping the schedule and coach education and mentorship, helping everybody that reported to me at the studio be successful, collaborating with the GM to make sure we were aligned in helping the gym be profitable. Like I enjoyed it. I effectively was running a business without any of the skin in the game. And then new owners came in and they cut the admin hour pay in half. They cut coach pay in half. I basically was like, this industry is so fucked. I know that I am good at this and that I enjoy it and that I have the ability to make decent money doing this. And I don't ever want to do this again. Like I am so sick of my fitness being for other people at this point.
Yeah.
And for other people getting to make decisions like, oh, I don't think I want to have the studio anymore. I'll just sell it. And then everybody else is just going to be fucked. And so I left and I said, never again. I'm done.
Right.
Like fitness is great. I'm grateful for this. I'm going to keep being fit on my own. I joined a CrossFit gym. Sick. That's great. And I got a job at an insurance company working in short-term disability claims.
Thrilling.
And we together, we being Ted, Walter, and myself, joined at a Lifetime Fitness.
Yep.
Like literally in the transition period we joined. Like I had not started yet at the insurance company, but I had left the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening who doesn't like know what a big corporate gym feels like, they like interview you and give you a tour and kind of roll out the red carpet for you if you're interested in joining. You don't just like walk in and be like, "Hello, I'd like to sign up." Like, no. They want to know about you and help you get plugged in and yada yada. And so I remember the person who signed us up being like, "So, what do you guys do for work?" And I said, "Well, I've actually just left the fitness industry." And she said, "Oh, would you like a job here?" And I said, "No, I would not."
No, I'm trying to get out of the game.
I'm trying to get out. And she said, "Are you sure? Because like based off of what you've shared with me, we're hiring for X, X, and X. I think you could be a really good fit." No, thank you. Can I pass your information on for them to reach out to you maybe sometime in the future? Please don't. No, thanks.
I'm done. I'm done with fitness. Leave me alone.
Wish you wouldn't. Started at the corporate job, doing the damn thing, making like some pretty decent money and like training for myself and only myself for the first time in many years. Was sitting on my couch. About 3 months later, I was home with the flu. I had the flu, like all of the GI distress that can sometimes come with the flu. And I had ordered pho on DoorDash. And my phone rang. And I thought, it is the pho restaurant calling me. Like, I don't answer my phone for any reason unless I know why you're calling me. But
Right.
I thought, I've literally just placed the order. This is pho.
They're calling to say we need to change something or whatever.
And I pick up the phone. "Hi, this is blah, blah, blah from Lifetime. Understand that you have some coaching experience, and I'm wondering if there's any chance that we can get you in here for an interview because we're hiring for X." And I said, "Thank you so much for calling. No, thank you." And he said, hang on. I can pay you $100 a class." And so I said, "I'm actually really, really sick right now. And the only reason that I answered the phone is that I thought you were the restaurant with broth calling me to tell me there was a problem. I thought you were pho calling. Can I call you back in a couple of days when I don't feel like I'm about to vomit out of my nose?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Give me a call back. Anxiously await you feeling better." So called him back. Long story short, got the job, and was coaching 4 classes a week, 2 per evening, on a Monday, Wednesday, and making an extra like $1,600 a month.
Yeah.
Was like, "Oh, this is sick." Like, and Ted would often bring Walt along with him, and like he'd jump into one of the classes and we'd maybe get dinner together after. Like it was awesome and lovely and very sweet for where we were at. And then another coach got fired. And I got a, "Hey, Weez, we've got some classes to fill if you'd like them." No, thank you. I'm good with what I have. We can pay $100 for those too. When the regular class rate was like 45.
Oh.
It's like, that sounds interesting. And so I started coaching the 6 a.m. every weekday.
Okay.
And like literally, okay, I'm getting up at 4:30. I'm getting
Yeah.
myself ready. I'm having breakfast at home. I'm going and coaching. I'm doing a very quick workout on my own. And then I am bolting home so that I can shower and sign on like before 8:30.
Right. Into the insurance minds.
And then 2 days a week, I am making sure that I clock out by like 3:45 so that I can get changed back into my coaching attire to drive across town and coach the 5 and the 6 p.m. And at this period of time, we're making some fucking money.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're
Right?
holding
Like,
down the insurance thing, and now we're
right,
doing another, 2,800 a month
right,
with fitness. It's not so
right.
bad.
It's not so bad. So tangentially over here, unrelated to fitness, is Ted and I are trying to grow our family.
Mhm.
We do want to have another child. And we put a date on the calendar as like, hey, if we're not pregnant by this point, like, I'm not interested in IVF or IUI. That's not to say that I would poo-poo them for somebody else. I didn't want to go through it. It was not
Yeah.
something that I wanted for myself and my body and my finances. Part of the reason why I didn't make any shifts at that point is because I knew I had short-term disability and a mat leave through the insurance job.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, my first time around, I had like 4 weeks off and it was not enough. I was like still bleeding by the time I went back to coach a CrossFit class. Like, it was just
Crazy.
awful, awful. Um, and so having like a supportive cushion to be able to have the postpartum that I desired was really important to me, even though I, again, was back into working something that was totally unsustainable. And that day on the calendar came and went. I'm like, all right, well, let's move on. Um, we will happily exist with one child. And it's at this point that I was approached that, hey, if you'd like, there's some other class opportunity to pick up, and we could bring you on board like more full time here if you'd like that. And so deciding like, okay, well, if we're not going to have another child, I don't need this mat leave. And I could basically match my income at the 2 jobs that I'm working
Mhm.
with another like 9-ish classes a week, because we were able to negotiate like an in the middle, hey, I get paid this for any class that I coach, so that
Right.
there's
There's a
not
Weezy
like,
rate.
right, there's not a you're making 100 if you're coaching this, you're making 45 if you're coaching this. No, like I'm making 77 all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
great. That's fine. And so then figured out like, oh, sick. I could make like 90 grand coaching 19 classes a week, regardless
Yep.
of the format. And so I got certified in some other formats, and I started picking up some other tools in my fitness toolkit and said, you know what? This sounds good. Could make like almost 6 figures working 20 hours a week. I don't have to do any of the programming. I can make some extra on the side, taking on nutrition clients. If I ever wanted to personal train here, I know that I could.
But you
And
also
I
don't have
could,
any of the you're not doing the sales, you're not doing the
right.
maintenance, you're not
No,
doing, like, you show
none
up,
of
you
it.
turn the lights on, you run the damn thing, you go home.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct. And so we decided, like, yeah, let's fucking do this. That sounds great. This sounds like a no-brainer. And Jack.
Yeah.
So as I'm like pregnant with Jack and looking at my life and the flow of my life and knowing what my previous postpartum looked like and knowing that there would go, I mean, truly like Tuesday through Thursday, basically every week, I would leave in the morning knowing I'm not going to see Walter awake until Friday.
Yeah.
Like my child who I live with, who is less than a year old, I'm not gonna see him. This is unacceptable to me. And I started grappling with like, how the fuck am I gonna do this again? Like, this was so hard. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because I mean, it was really difficult.
Yeah.
He's much closer with Ted, I think, because of that. And all of these things kind of culminated as I was also looking around the room and noticing everyone in the room who is stronger and fitter, and their metrics have moved in a direction that they're proud of. But the shoulder that hurt day 1 still hurts day 1,000. And like starting to notice that, but about everybody, and feeling like such a fraud. Like, wow, cool. I'm just a cheerleader. And I'm gonna miss my second child's like newborn period after already having gone through this to cheer people on through some burpees and like watch them still like nurse and lick their wounds, but not actually do anything about it. And it kind of like it all hit me at once. Was dealing with this unrest, but not sure what or if I could even do anything about it.
Well, yeah, it's such a vulnerable period also, because
Right.
like you've built a thing several
Mm-hmm.
times. This is
Several
whatever your
times.
the sixth thing that you've built, and it seemed pretty good and pretty stable, and now it's
Mm-hmm.
getting shaken up again.
Right.
And I I, I imagine Lifetime has different maternity policies than the insurance company did.
Right. So it was a little bit of a bait and switch because I was told as a part of becoming a lifetime exclusive that I would be given benefits,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you have access to pay for health insurance, but you do not have access to short-term disability. So,
Right.
again, like staring down the barrel of like losing time that I'd never get back,
Yeah.
feeling deeply uncomfortable with that, but decided let's try to make it work. Let's just like, let's give it a chance to be different. And my supervisor at the time totally miffed my return to work. We had a full conversation about like what my transition back was going to look like.
Mhm.
And she uploaded it into Lifetime system incorrectly. And I no call, no showed for a class that I did not know I was supposed to be teaching. Like she
Oh,
inputted into the system incorrectly, but then I was penalized because I didn't show up to a class that I was supposed to coach. And it
okay.
was at like the 5.5 week postpartum point. And it's at this point that I was like, okay, something is going to have to change. And I think that something's going to have to be me. I can't manipulate the fitness industry. And so if I want to make this work, I need to try something else or move on.
Yeah.
Like I'm not willing to do this sort of bullshit. I'm in a group text that gets 100 messages a day because admin has no idea how to communicate with the people that it employs, and like just this is chaos. This is not working.
And you had started to feel like the work you were doing was a lot less valuable than you had
Right.
aimed for, which is a really
Right.
like there's a level of bullshit we will deal with if if there's a huge amount of fulfillment, right?
Right.
It's Stu Brower talks about this all the time. Like it's got to be money or fulfillment. Those are the only things you can
Right.
offer people. You can give
Right.
them a ton of money and treat them like garbage and make them do horrible things, or you can give them an enormous amount of fulfillment and
Right.
make them feel really good, and they'll do it for free. And
Right.
it's usually somewhere in the middle. But if you're like, the money's okay, but I'm not having any fun, and the fulfillment
Right.
really isn't there, and I don't feel good about what I'm doing, now we're on the scales are just tipping the wrong way.
Right. So I was staring down this hallway. I knew our mutual friend Nick Mula.
Yeah, yours and
Um,
mine.
yes. He was a CrossFit coach in a suburb of Nashville when I lived there, and we were like kind of tangentially knew each other.
Oh,
The
I don't think I
gym
knew
that
that.
Yeah, the gym that he was head coach at, through some competitions, and they always used throwdowns.
Mhm.
And so at the time, if somewhere within about a 90-minute radius of where I lived through a competition, I'd actually make a point to go there in person if I could.
Okay.
Just to like, hey, just here to support you if you need anything. Your scorekeeper looks kind of stressed out. I'm happy to step in and give them a break if they'd like that. Right. Um, there was one time in particular that Tori was the scorekeeper, and
Okay.
she was very, very stressed out about that.
Yeah. Tori is Nick's
um,
now wife.
correct.
Yeah.
Um, and so I knew him, and I knew that he had started posting about this thing called Active Life Professional and how he was helping people not just work around pain, but work through it. And the types of things that he was talking about on social media and the problems that he was helping solve were very, very interesting to me. I also knew that when I knew him, he wasn't making a lot of money, right? Like, you're not super well off. And I had observed, like, oh, he's bought a house. I don't think he's independently wealthy. So you're both doing work that, at least from the outside looking in, looks to be deeply meaningful. And you're also making enough money to, like, at least buy a house. Or there's something else nefarious going on the side, and I'd like to try to figure that out, right? And so I remember he and I had a conversation. I would have been, like, maybe 6 weeks postpartum at that point.
Yep.
And he told me, hey, Active Life is actually, like, running a 1-week boot camp. It's free, to give you kind of a peek behind the curtain at the types of things that they do. It should help you get some more clients if that's something that you'd like. What's to lose? And so I signed up for that, and it did help me get some more clients almost immediately without teaching me any more skills. And then I had this kind of, like, carrot in front of me of, there's all this knowledge that could help you solve problems that other people aren't even talking about. And that was exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And that's when I met you.
I know.
So at the end of the boot camp, I scheduled a discovery meeting with Active Life professional staff, who at the time was you. And I wouldn't say that you convinced me, because I'd pretty much convinced myself already.
I remember this call very clearly. There's like 3 people that I remember, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls I had with people, where I got on the call with them, and like 20 minutes in, I was like, what are we talking about? You got to do this. This is perfect. You're perfect for it. You're going to fucking crush it. It's going to change your life, and you're going to print money. Why are we still having a conversation? This is annoying.
Right. Yeah. I remember you told me, like, you are the person for whom this makes the most sense, who I've spoken to maybe all year.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, is that a line? Like, and here we
I
are
didn't
now.
do line. That's part of the reason I got fired, is because I always tell the truth.
Right. You always tell the truth.
Yeah.
I signed up. Still somewhat skeptical. Like, I don't know if this is even going to work, but, like, something has to change, and the something's going to have to be me. So let's see.
Which is also, like, not to undercut it, it's a big commitment, including a pretty big financial commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 13 months, which my understanding is that maybe it's a little longer now. Maybe it's more like 2 years. But it's also just south of 20 grand.
Yeah.
So I was considering at this point also, like, what might it look like to go back to school? What might it look like to, like, become a nurse or go to PT school? And that shit's expensive and takes a long time, neither of which I wanted. So signed up for ALP. About 4 weeks into the curriculum, got offered a job here in Columbus, Ohio. That, again, day 2, I knew this is not it. Right?
Such a bad fit.
Full-time job in fitness, working for somebody extremely renowned with 2 very successful gyms. Strength and conditioning focus is going to have a piece of mentorship to it. I'm brand new in this community of people that I'm not certain, like, what would happen if I reneged on something that they helped me get. I remember driving home at the end of day 2. I am at this point about 4 months postpartum. I was so stressed out from how bad a fit it was that I pulled into my driveway. I, like, tumbled out of the car and I threw up in my front yard, like, just from stress. Here I am again, trying to make the fitness thing work. And I am having to choose between my family's financial health and my mental health, and feeling treated like I actually should be treated. And just, like, how and now I've taken on this pretty expensive continuing education. And to work at this place, I have left everywhere else that I'm coaching, right? Like
I was going to say you quit all the
I
other
quit.
coaching jobs
I
for
moved
this
on.
job
Right.
and like got a referral to get this job. And like, I remember it was a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The, would you call Sean the CEO?
I think he is the CEO. He's the owner. Yeah. And
The
CEO.
the owner of Active Life Professional like connected me directly with the owner of this gym. It was a big deal, and like I'm a very green coach in the Active Life Professional landscape at this point. And Ted, who is just like perpetually the hero in the story, comes outside and he's like, "Nope, absolutely not. This is not happening. We will figure out a way to make it work. I believe that if you want to excel at like what you're building, you have the capacity to do that. Nothing is worth this.
Yeah.
Like you have spent 16 hours with these people and you are so stressed that you are vomiting in our front yard.
Yeah. And
we are not doing this again."
No.
I'm like, okay. So I went in the next day and I quit on the spot. I was like, this is not going to be a good fit. Gave them a bunch of reasons, was super duper gaslit about that, and decided like, nope, I'm just going to wash my hands of this. And we put 6 months on the calendar and said, hey, if you're not doing the fucking thing, like if we're not showing some proof of concept here, something else needs to change at that point.
You guys
Right.
love putting stuff on a calendar.
We love
this is something that we've learned on this journey.
Right. We love a calendar. We love a countdown. And said, we can be super financially stressed for this period of time.
Yeah.
If this doesn't have legs at that point, we need to have a serious conversation about like where the future goes.
Yeah.
Great. Sick. Let's do it. I had my first $6,000 month, like 3 or 4 months in. Which at the time I'd maybe been clearing like 3,500 all in.
Okay.
Started to see like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
Like there's something that we can build here. That's hopefully people who have been listening. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll give like just the short runway of, okay, well then now what? So as I'm building my business, I'm doing so working part-time at Lifetime, still doing the class thing because they warmly received me back, which I was very grateful for. Even though it was not work that I felt particularly inspired by, it was consistent.
Yeah.
It was a high dollar amount and I could do it basically with my eyes closed.
Yeah, it's not necessarily convenient, but it's easy and it pays well enough and it's safe and you know how to do it.
Right. And I started coaching part-time at a CrossFit gym here in Columbus. At both of those places, more so at the CrossFit gym than at Lifetime because they are particularly litigious. Started building my personal roster of clients and seeing like just getting reps on clients. Had the person who I thought that I wanted to work with at the time, and also was working with basically whoever I could practice on and using every person as an opportunity to figure out like, oh, I don't like working with that communication style, or, oh, that injury is not my most favorite to help support. I should refer that out. Or, oh, no, there's something really here. I'm going to talk about this on my social media a whole bunch. And so treating it like almost as an internship, right? As like, okay, well, I'm gonna use every client as an opportunity to figure out what works and what doesn't. Both for them and for me. I'm so grateful for Pat at CrossFit Clintonville and extending me the opportunity to build my business there because I truly don't know that any of what we're seeing now would be possible without that because he gave me a space where I was not paying any rent. I was just paying a split. And so if I did well, so did he. And it became really clear about 18 months in that like, oh yeah, wow, there's really something here. And it would make a tremendous amount of sense to open my own space.
Yeah.
We worked to find the right place, navigating a whole bunch of frogs before we found the prince. And now here in my very own 1,600 square feet, making more money than I thought was possible for me to make, doing exactly what I would like to be doing, knowing with certainty that it is what I should be doing, where a lot of my life prior to this, like, I mean, even in school and in those initial sort of years of jobs, really had no idea. Like, I have no idea what I want or what I'm good at. There was just a lot that was ambiguous. That's not true now.
Yeah. An extraordinary amount of clarity.
Right. Yeah.
But I think listening to this, it is occasionally, I feel like you've unfairly been branded kind of an overnight success. Like
Mm.
Weezy just breezed in and did this stuff, and like it worked great and exploded, and it's just there you go. And it was not that.
No, I didn't sneeze and break six figures. Like,
Yeah.
this is a decade of like climbing up the steep side of a mountain, carrying a ruck and wondering if there's going to be anywhere to put it down.
Yeah. And then falling down and
And
climbing
then
up a
falling.
slightly different route and then falling
Right.
down,
Right. Yeah.
putting a date on the
It's
calendar. I'm going to get to that part of the peak.
right. It's also impossible. Like, all of this, 100% of it is impossible without Ted's support and encouragement,
Yeah.
both emotionally and financially. Like, if I had not had somebody who was the more stable of the two of us, or who was willing to be more of the default parent so that I could build my dream, like, none of it's possible. So I'm extremely grateful to have a partner who views himself as an actual partner and who wants me to be as successful or more so, and as fulfilled or more so than he is. It's I mean, truly, like, none of this is possible without him.
Well, it sounds like actual teamwork, which is, and I mean no offense by this, but
Mhm.
especially both of you coming from such deep religious roots is not the default.
No. Right.
Yeah.
We talk about that, and you and I have talked about that offline some, that, like, we often wonder how we ended up the way that we did based off
Yeah.
of the experiences that we've had. And we also talk a lot about, like, how many partnerships do you think, like, actually like each other?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Some.
we
I think the answer is some.
some, we
Yeah.
genuinely just enjoy spending time together, and we have overlapping interests that are not the small people that we made.
Yeah.
And I think that that has cultivated a really beautiful and supportive relationship. And it's wild to think about what my life could have looked like if I ended up with the other guy from college, because he is a Fox News contributor.
That's different.
That's different.
That's different. So
That's
what's
different.
putting a little bit of a button on it, but what is what's happening in 5 years?
Oh, in 5 years, I own a building.
As opposed to
I
renting, which is what you're currently
As opposed
doing.
to renting.
Mhm.
Yes. In 5 years, I own a building. I have a team of people who are as successful as I am right now, that are doing work that they find deeply meaningful. I personally am probably coaching a lot less, which means that I have to be very particular about who I decide to take on.
Mhm.
But I am helping create a higher standard of coaching in Columbus, and a place to go that, hopefully, the way that I envision it, is a multidisciplinary space. And that is not to say that we are competitive with other people here, because there is no shortage of people who need to get strong and who need the right kind of support to do that. And so I don't believe it's realistic to say that my, like, team of 5 or 6 is putting anybody else out to business, but rather we are trying to raise the tide so that all boats rise.
Yeah,
That's
in
the
a
goal.
city, I used to tell people that in Philadelphia, that, like, I'm you're not my competition. There's 1.5 million people here. I couldn't get to them all if I tried.
Right.
We need as many good people working as possible.
Right.
It's going to be fine.
Right. Like right now, a completely full book of business for me is 20 in-person hours. Right.
Yeah.
If people are training with me twice a week, that's 10 people.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fine.
Is there anything I didn't ask about that you think we should have covered?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Sweet.
think,
Thank you for sharing all
like,
that.
of course, I would like to put a bow on it if that's okay with you.
Do.
I think the thing that is really interesting to look back on, like 30,000 foot view, which certainly this will change a decade from now, is that it is actually possible to have it all. Right? Like I can have a relationship that I'm extremely proud of, and I can have a business that both fills my cup and is profitable. And I can be a mom without having lost myself to motherhood. All of it is possible with the right players and the right decisions and the right clarity. If any one of those is missing, it's not possible.
And the right values.
Yeah.
I could imagine a different kind of person could be very dissatisfied sitting in your shoes.
Right.
Because they don't have 4 homes and they don't have a private jet, or they don't have, or whatever the fill in the blank is, or they don't have 10 kids, or they don't have, they're not making 8 figures.
Right.
And somehow that isn't success.
Like a degree of both contentment and gratitude, like those things can coexist with being hungry for what's next. They don't cancel out each other.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's very impressive about you is that you have a lot of clarity on what's important to you and what you want. And you're good at getting that and then recognizing that you did it and not settling. You just described some very ambitious plans for the next 5 years.
Sure.
But also being willing to recognize that these are good things and I'm content and I just crossed everything off of my to-do list. That's pretty cool. It's okay to be happy about that.
Right.
And I'm going to keep working.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm there's something, I don't remember if Esther said it or Thomas said it. Those are people in our repertoire that maybe listeners know, maybe they don't. Grateful for where I came from, hungry for where I'm going.
Yeah. 100%.
Thanks for giving me the space to talk about that.
Yeah, that was fun.
In a way that, I've done several podcast interviews on my journey, and I liked that this one was more of a conversation and less of like a tell us exactly how you got here so we can replicate it.
Yeah, no, it's not because we know that doesn't work, right?
No.
It's no one else is going to do it exactly the way you did. We can
No, and
give
they
some
shouldn't.
examples, but because it wouldn't work. If someone else did exactly what you did, it would be a fucking disaster.
Right. Yeah. Well, and let's just put it out into the ether, because I've put this into our internal coach network and I'm ready to put it out into the universe. Sustained is ready to bring somebody on board. And so if you're listening to this and you're either in Columbus, Ohio, or willing to relocate to Columbus, Ohio, there's a seat at the table here for you. I can't promise that you will make $100,000 up front, but I can promise that if you put in the work to help grow your books here, that is not far off.
Yeah, that is absolutely an achievable goal.
Absolutely an achievable goal. So it is possible if you're somebody who says, I want what she has, but I don't want the skin in the game of opening a gym. I got that covered. I got you. There's opportunity for you here if you want that.
Yeah. I think given that, and this is some boring housekeeping, but I just want to say it out loud for both of us, we should move this way up in the release calendar and bump some stuff. So people hear this kind of probably in the next week.
Okay. That's fine. If you have bandwidth for that.
Yeah. It's just work, right?
Should we do a segment?
Let's do a segment.
Okay, so I have to, because something is wrong with notes. Oh, hang on. I have them out. Please edit this out. Take care of it in post, Justin.
Do you know what post is?
I just know that's what they say.
That is what they say. That is what they say.
No, I know post-prod, like add
Yeah.
your, you could put like some, there's a firework.
Oh my God.
Do
I'm not promising I'm going to do that.
it in post. Do it in post. You texted me to ask if I was okay doing a Weezy origin story
Yep.
episode. And so I decided it would be extremely appropriate for the segment to be true or false, the Ted and or Wee's pet edition.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you some statements, and you are going to tell me if they are true or false, and they are related to my and or Ted's pets.
Pets that you have or have had.
Have or have had.
Got it. Okay.
Are you ready?
I believe so.
True or false? Weeze's first pet was a hamster.
That's very believable. That's an excellent little girl first pet. Yeah, I'll say true.
That is true. My first pet was a hamster named Fluffy, and my parents told me that I was going to get a hamster by giving me a book about hamsters, which I then read about all of the behaviors of hamsters so that I could understand my hamster.
Can we time out for a short hamster story?
Of course.
My baby sister's first pet was also a hamster. She got a hamster. I don't remember the hamster's name, but she had a hamster. And she really loved the hamster and had the little terrarium thing with the sawdust in the bottom and had a good time. And the hamster got sick and seemed like it wasn't doing great. It was kind of being really still. And then I got a call at my friend's house. This is imagine children, if you can, a day before cell phones. So my mom called my friend's mom when I was at my friend's house playing. I'm like 13.
Yep.
And Justin, your mom's on the phone. You have to come home immediately. Whatever the hamster's name was, Mr. Wiggles just died in Alyssa's hand. You need to come home and bury the hamster. Okay. So I came home and mom was like, this is really important. Go into the backyard and take a shovel and dig a hole. And we're going to have a little Mr. Wiggles funeral. And then you're going to bury the hamster for your sister. Okay. So that's what I did in like a shoebox it was all wrapped up. It was very cute. He's probably still there. As far as I know, that what's left of Mr. Wiggles is still in Norwood, Massachusetts. But yeah. I was like, I guess it was one of those like, you're the man of the house for now. This is your responsibility.
Okay. Right.
I guess.
Fluffy was the first of many hamsters.
Sure.
I had Fluffy and then I had Snuffy, which we're just not going to talk about the name. I was like 10 years old and I thought it was cute. And then Moose, which is very ironic. And I will say that the only time that I remember seeing my dad cry, including when his dad died, is when Moose the hamster died.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, true or false? In college, Weeze bought a guinea pig and named it Meredith.
So also very believable. I mean, that's kind of hamster plus behavior. Totally dorm college appropriate. They're like a little bit of work and kind of smelly. For some reason, I thought you were going to be a lizard girl in college. Oh. Yeah, I'll say true.
That is true. That is true. 3 weeks later, Meredith gave birth to 3 babies. True or false?
Jesus Christ. True.
That is also true. Yeah. That was when I was running the marathon. I came back from running the marathon and there were 4 guinea pigs. True or false? Ted and Weeze adopted a dog on their 1-year anniversary.
Oh, that's super believable. Yeah, true.
False. We adopted a dog after we were married for 10 days.
Okay.
We both wanted a dog so bad. And we'd always, we had both had dogs. And so we knew, with some degree of certainty what it's going to take. Yeah, we want a dog that's ours. True or false? Ted and Weeze adopted a cat and named her Cat.
Oh, I know you had have a cat. Uh, yeah, true.
This is false, but only partly false. We did adopt a cat, but I named her Zoe. However, Ted, who worked 100% at home, did
Mhm.
not call her Zoe. He called her Cat. And so she learned that her name is Cat.
So if Ted calls the cat Cat and the cat thinks the cat's name is Cat,
The cat's name is Cat.
who's right? I'm
Right.
claiming credit for that question.
Right. And so now Cat is almost 14 years old.
Okay.
And she knows that her name is Cat.
Mhm.
And I have decided also that her name is Cat. And so, but it really confuses Jack, who is not quite 3 years old, because we have another cat named Lola.
Mhm.
And it really gets in Jack's head that we have a cat who's named Cat, but another cat, also a cat, who is not named Cat.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
honestly, I'm with
right.
Jack. That's confusing.
He'll see Lola and he'll be like, "That cat," and be like, "No, that's Lola. She is a cat," and he'll be like, "No, that cat," and be like,
Yeah.
"No, that's cat. No, that
No,
cat."
it's lowercase c cat, and this is a weird argument to have with someone your age.
Right. I'm like, "Yeah, that cat's name is Cat. This
Yeah.
cat's name is Lola. No, that not Lola. That cat." Like, okay,
Yeah, I'm with
very
him,
good,
honestly.
very good. So our first dog,
Mhm.
who is no longer with us, Juno, was named after the picturesque city in Alaska.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think the dog was named Juno, but I don't think you named it after the city. I think it might have been the film. It wasn't the city. False.
That is correct. It is after the film. We
Yeah.
love the movie Juno.
Yeah.
Very, very, very funny. Our second dog, Mac, is named after the truck.
No, I don't buy it. I mean, I know you like trucks, but that's a lot of truck. No, false.
That is false. You are correct. Mac is short for Marcellus Wallace.
Also a movie reference.
Yes, from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Because he is big. He is black.
No one's going to let me live if I don't ask you, does he look like a bitch?
Does he look like a bitch? He does not. In his heyday, he is a Rhodesian Ridgeback mix,
Oh,
which we
yeah.
did not know that at the time of adopting. He is a Border Collie mix. He's actually Rhodesian Ridgeback, Corgi, and Pitbull.
Yeah.
In his heyday, he would quite literally like vault jump over a 6-foot privacy fence, which was not great at the time because he's also afraid of most things, including running water.
Oh,
And
dear.
so, like, if we'd have the sprinkler on or be watering plants, he would just leave. Like, he'd just straight up peace
I'm
out.
out of here.
Right. And the cops would pull up knowing this is your dog. Can you
Yep, we
please
brought
do
him back
anything
again.
about this? And we're like, I'd like to.
Yep.
I can't contain him. He
We're
is
thinking
wild,
about a
but
taller fence. I don't know.
right. But he is elderly now and not in his heyday, so
A little less sprightly.
a little more tame. True or false? Puppies helped Wheeze through the grief of miscarriage.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That is true. That
Yep.
is true. In between miscarriage number 2 and all of the moves that we did and Walter entering the equation, we fostered a litter of puppies. And so somebody brought us a laundry basket of 5-week-old
Whoa.
Australian Shepherd puppies.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I know what joy feels like, and it
So much
is
fuzziness.
exactly the weight of 5 puppies in a laundry
Yeah.
basket. True or false? LT was our soul dog.
What do you mean by soul dog? Because we've talked about a bunch of other dogs already.
SOUL, soul dog.
Oh, yes, true.
That is true. LT was our soul dog. True or false? LT stands for Little Tumbler.
Oh, I feel like you told me once what LT stood for, and I don't have any memory of it. So I'm going to say false.
That is false. LT stands for Little Ted.
Oh, very well.
True or false? Ted and Weeze had to call pet poison control more than once because of LT's shenanigans.
Very believable. True.
That is true. She ate an entire skincare regimen once.
Mhm.
She also ate an entire bag of coffee beans. Several other nefarious things. She was quite the rapscallion.
I
So,
had a dog once
yes.
who ate 2 C batteries and the flea collar off his brother's neck all in one
Yeah.
afternoon.
That tracks. That
Mhm.
tracks. True or false? Ted and Weeze renamed LT late in her life.
Oh, that is ringing a bell, but I don't know why. I'm going to say true.
That is true. So, this must have been maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They all got out, all 3 of the dogs.
Right.
And we live adjacent to quite a bit of woods. And they did a joyride in the woods. And when LT came back, she was bleeding from the mouth.
Sweet.
And we come to figure after a trip to the vet and some x-rays and some surgery that she almost certainly got kicked in the mouth by a deer, which means she was close enough to the deer to get kicked in the mouth. So
that's how
impressive.
it works.
Impressive from the scruffy dog with the little legs.
Yeah.
But she had to have 13 teeth removed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like the x-ray was like
surgery.
just shrapnel. And so we renamed her Less Teeth.
Okay.
And so it was still LT, but it was less teeth. Okay, last one. Are you ready?
I believe so.
Betty is named after the famous, incredible, and white-haired Betty White.
Boy, that's a good one. Betty is mostly white fur, and a pretty remarkable looking thing. In a way, Betty White was lovely looking, but certainly remarkable to look at. Charismatic, that most famous for like the big white hair later in her life. And that is the sort of thing you would name a dog after, but I feel like there's a double bluff in here somewhere, and it's going to be after something I don't understand, but it feels good enough. I'm going to say true.
It is false. Betty is named after a Taylor Swift song.
Oh, yeah. I never would have. I haven't heard of this. I mean, I've heard of Taylor Swift, but I couldn't. If you were like true or false, there's a Taylor Swift song named Betty. I mean, flip a fucking coin. I don't know.
Yeah, there is a Taylor Swift song named Betty.
Yep.
It's
I realized I had considered a Taylor Swift line on our interview journey, and genuinely hand to heart decided we don't have that kind of fucking time. So we're just going to shut that door, and people know you like Taylor Swift. And I like, we're not doing another 40. We'd have to turn it into a 2-parter. We're already going long.
That's absolutely true. I have so much to say about the Queen.
Yeah. No, we'll put that in behind the paywall.
Right. That's correct. With the feet pics.
Exactly.
This has been True or False, Ted and or Wee's Pet Edition.
That was fun.
I wasn't keeping score, but I think you did quite well.
I think I did okay. I think I only missed 1 or 2.
I think you missed 2, which is pretty good. We accept.
Sweet. Not bad.
Good job.
Thank you.
That's it today.
That's it.
I'm supposed to say something. Team! This has been Training Partners. I'm Weezy Shoemaker. That's Justin McClintock. My brain went blank. Goodbye!
Later, gang!
It's time for the Training Partners. Here come your training partners. So smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners. We're ready to laugh and learn with our new best friend surprise. It's time for the training partners. Here come your training partners. So smart, your training partners. We're ready to shine.